Howdy, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Vinyl Vault. As always, I'm Parker.
I'm Tony.
Had a little bit of a hiatus last week. Tony decided to use some of that vacation time that he's earned. Tony, what'd you do?
I went to the beautiful lands of Springfield, spent some good time in the fields of the spring, and then I did end up going to St. Louis to see my family in St. Louis for the weekend, for Labor Day weekend.
Well rested and deserved break, but we're glad to have you back.
Good to be back.
I wanted to do something different this week. There is a genre that we have neglected. I don't think it was on purpose, but we haven't spoken about a lot of country artists. We haven't spoken about a lot of country records, and I bought the CD at Goodwill, and I was listening to it, and when it came time to pick, I was like, well, we do classic rock, we do heavy metal, we do 2000s, we did the best, which was Nickelback, but we haven't done anything country, and I decided that we needed to expand our palette, if you will. So,
and I will.
And yes. And so we decided to talk about one of the greatest female country singers of all time and one of her greatest albums of all time, Shania Twain's Come On Over. Now, Tony, you are not a country music person.
This is true.
So, I tried to pick one. I tried to pick an album that had, kind of that pop country. In the 90s, country was moving away from being very whatever it was, the George Straits, the Garth Brooks, and then it started becoming more poppy with, heavier drums. They still incorporated things like the steel guitar, but it wasn't as much of a feature as it was in traditional country. And so I think that's where Shania Twain really came in. The best thing, she's Canadian. You wouldn't know it by listening to her. Not that Canadian people have a specific accent, but whenever you think country music, you think Southern drawl, know. And she didn't have any of that. But as somebody who doesn't listen to country music unless you're being forced to, like this week, first thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think you chose a pretty good one that would not drive me crazy. And yes, I grew up on the rise of Shania Twain when that happened, and she was definitely I guess a trend starter for country pop, of like really making it to the mainstream, and going on MTV and seeing her music videos and everything like that, and being like, oh yeah, I mean, like, great, here's a country star that's actually making some actual decent music. So listening to the album, I had heard it before, but this was technically my first listen. So breaking down the album, honestly, I struggled trying to find something I didn't like.
Really?
It was just a matter of like, okay, I do feel the album is a little long.
It's I have a copy, folks. It's very fancy. This is my Goodwill copy. We believe in physical media in this house. And 16 songs. The back of the album literally says an hour of music.
Yeah. That's quite a bit of music, which I felt like it all sounds good, but it starts to kind of blend together. So, I mean, I probably would have reduced it down to maybe 12 at most, 12 songs. But that being said, I wouldn't know which ones to put up there because I really did enjoy, majority of the songs. I did come up with a top three and one that I liked the least out of all the ones that I liked.
That's my issue with this album, is that I can't think of just three songs that I like. And for those who are unfamiliar, this was I can't describe. I mean, I'm only 29, and this album's only 28 years old, and so I was not around to really understand the significant cultural value that this album had. But I also understand how history works, and we can study it. And this album seemed to kind of have a chokehold on America in the late 90s, specifically because, I mean, she was doing things like, the That Don't Impress Me Much music video, walking around in the whole cheetah print outfit and, the red hair, there wasn't, you had Reba and then Shania, and then I'm probably missing like all the other popular ones. And then her famous Brad Pitt reference, which, local ties. And
Exactly.
I think she did a really good job on this album of giving a healthy balance of those ballads that she can really sing well, but also, I call them, wedding songs. And then having like that pro, female, we're just as much of a person as any male song. As I think it's Honey I'm Home, which that's a good song too, because it's all about, struggles in the life of the average woman and coming home and, flipping the gender roles of like, I'm tired, I've been working, you grab me a beer. Which I think was something that was kind of refreshing in the late 90s. But
what I really like about her lyrics is, like she's funny. She does play with the gender role. She does girl power and there's songs like Don't Be Stupid made me kind of chuckle of just like, oh yeah, like especially after listening to Nickelback and the song we both hated of that point, then you listen to Shania be like, hey, cut it out, I thought it was kind of fun to listen to a different perspective. Not that either have anything to do with each other, but just because of this musical journey that we've gone through, I couldn't help but think of that song.
It's all part of this plan to interconnect all of the albums.
Right.
I think that the best thing about this album is not the lyrics. I do love the fact that she's able to incorporate a lot of the traditional country instruments into this. She's a country artist. I think this is more of a pop record.
Oh, definitely.
But I think it works for both genres. I think it's interesting that, like I said, this album's 29 years old or 28 years old. I'm 29 years old. God, I'm getting old. The first song on this album is "Man, I Feel Like a Woman," and the first millisecond those horns hit, any place you're in public, it's almost like that scene from SpongeBob when like Plankton like gets the chum buckets to like go on people's heads and they immediately like turn into like. The point is that like it's almost like a. I don't want to say like a. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a noise that like everybody's brain just immediately recognizes,
sure,
and then reacts in real time.
Yeah. So very iconic sound that you hear, the horns, right? So you know exactly what song it is, even if it's there's that like game show of like I know that song or
Beat Shazam.
Yeah, exactly. You hear that horn, oh yeah, it's Shania.
And it's just, and the Let's Go Girls is so like, I saw this, I don't want to say it was a meme, but it was one of those like viral tweets that just becomes a meme. And it was like, every time I hear Let's Go Girls, I'm going to run through a brick wall. And it makes me laugh every time because like people get like really excited when they hear this song. And it's interesting that, we talk about, how music seems to outlive the people that made it. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I know that this song, this album, this singer is very popular with our generation. I don't know how popular she is with kids that are, in their late teens right now.
Sure.
Just because she hasn't really put out music I mean, she's still around, but she hasn't been as dedicated to, I don't want to say dedicated. She hasn't been as in the studio as she used to be.
She hasn't put out as much things that have hit, as many ears as possible.
Yeah.
But there's no denying that, she probably heavily influenced somebody like Taylor Swift, who also started off country and then pop, I mean, I don't think that that would have happened without somebody like Shania.
Shania Twain was Taylor Swift before Taylor Swift.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just I think the album itself, it was just pretty much at a perfect time. And, you know, it helps that she's really good looking. Her music videos were, you know, both a play on just classic country looks and then also doing a little bit more poppy, a little bit more sexy, kind of putting it out there.
It was like a feminism movement, but it wasn't over the top. It wasn't it wasn't, I don't want to say it was tongue in cheek with the music videos, but like it was very playful of like, hey, don't forget, like, I'm here too. Like, this isn't a male dominated field. It wasn't like a, you know, who run the world girls kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Just in the context of 1997, that's how I felt.
So were you able to narrow it down to a top 3?
Number 1, I've got Man, I Feel Like a Woman. I feel like that's, as much as I try to discount songs that I feel are overplayed, I feel like this one, there is no logical person in this world, unless you correct me in 30 seconds, that would not think this is the best song on the album.
I concur, yeah. It's my number 1 as well.
And then number 2, I'd have That Don't Impress Me Much. I just love the way that song is written, and it tackles the stereotypes of men in the 90s, sometimes the stereotypes of the men now, you know, about the guy that, you know, was obsessed with his looks, the guy that was obsessed with his car, and it's like, that doesn't impress me. Like, you need to be a person, not, you know, a career or a car.
Sure, yeah.
And then I think I'm going to tie number 3 here. I'm going to go You're Still the One or You've Got a Way. I feel like those are the 2 best ballads on here. I do like the album or the duet with Brian White. I used to think that was Brian Adams, but shut up, Brian White. But I think those are the 2 best ballads, and I think that they're what's the other one? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm probably leaving one out that I'm gonna lose my mind over.
In terms of ballads, or
yeah, the ballads.
I mean, You've Got a Way, the last track.
Yeah, that's one of those ones where the album version is not as famous as the one we know, which is actually technically the international mix, which just goes to show how successful this woman was in this album. That, you know, if you go to Apple Music, I've got a hair in my eye. I promise I'm not emotional.
Do you want me to go further in so people can see it?
No, we're good.
What about Shania? Maybe Shania wants to talk about it.
So the thing is like, if you go to Apple Music, because if you go to Apple Music and you click on like the special edition album, like it's all international mixes, and so I think this was a really, America needed this album.
Sure.
America needed this album. And I think it's very difficult because when you think about who was more influential to country music when it comes to female country artists, she's definitely on the Mount Rushmore of female country artists. Because you've got, to me, Reba, Shania, Carrie Underwood, and then you have to throw in a traditional artist, and I would go with Patsy. I love Shania. I don't know if she's on the Mount Rushmore of overall country artists, just because it's been such a field dominated and diluted with, you know, male artists, you know, Johnny Cash, Garth Brooks, George Strait, Alan Jackson. I think she is one of the best, if not the best, in her specific genre. It's just hard to quantify that over, you know, the entire country music genre, but you know.
Well, do you own her other albums?
I don't.
Okay, and maybe that's
she clearly is not a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
I wonder though. I wonder if maybe she had another pretty good album with 80 Man of Mine, which was a good one. Just throwing this out there. I wonder how much more successful she could have been if she didn't have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bangers on this album.
I mean, she released the album released 12 singles.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty absurd.
It is just like, because I'm, when I go vinyl hunting and I'm looking at albums, I have a rule. I will not buy a vinyl album if it only has one hit on it, because to me, it's like, if I really want to listen to that, just that one song, I don't need to get the record out and start the record player and listen to it for the one song. So I require at least two.
Sure.
That's my requirement.
Gotcha.
If I found this on vinyl somewhere, it's a definite buy just because it has all those hits. But I'm wondering if she had released other albums in time and maybe had 2 hits on this one and then 2 hits on the next one. I'm wondering if that would have maybe just added to, her arsenal, her resume.
Sure.
I don't think she's poisoned by this success. I don't think she's lost any of her celebrity because it's like, well, she's a really good singer, but like she just has way too many hits on this album. Like I don't think it's used to discount her success. I wonder if she was able to pace that out better, if it would have strengthened her on the list of best country artists.
I suspect, and because I'm not familiar with all of her work, that it might have something to do with who she did the album with, and that was Mutt Lange. If you don't know who Mutt Lange is, he was the producer for AC/DC, Def Leppard, Michael Bolton, Britney Spears, Celine Dion.
I know Celine Dion.
He's a hit maker, and very specifically during the early '80s. I mean, the bands that I just mentioned, you have in particular songs that you attach it to. He was a part of that. He's a very, very good songwriter, and this was his first time going into country. And a lot of people were like, was telling Shania, don't do it. Don't work with this, rock producer, and then vice versa. Don't work with this country artist. But they were both like fans of each other and made, a pop country album, like really creating something new. And they would eventually get married, and
Interesting.
would write songs and
So you're the historian.
I had to break it down because it's just music appreciation. Plus, it's an interesting story of 2 people just wanting to collaborate, falling in love, and a lot of these songs are more than likely about each other. And
Are they still married?
they are not. If we want to talk a little tea, he cheated on Shania with Shania's best friend. They divorced, and then Shania married her best friend's husband. So they swapped. Very, very interesting.
It's got to be an interesting blended Christmas.
Right. They did have kids, so they do interact with each other. But
I assume they co-parent pretty well. But man, a man named Mutt is somewhat responsible for this absolute stellar album.
Yeah, and honestly, after this album, I think he might have helped with the next one because they were married for a few years. So she did have a couple albums immediately after '97. That being said, I think the songwriting, the composition of the music and what have you, it was all kind of taken away, and she went off to do her own thing, and maybe it was the formula wasn't there. The band broke up basically. And so I suspect, I'm speculating that's why we haven't heard a whole lot of like bigger Shania stuff. Go ahead.
Speculation. So your 3.
My 3. Okay. Number 1, Man, I Feel Like a Woman. Number 2, From This Moment On. That was my favorite ballad. As it is still a song when I first heard it, whenever I say the words from this moment, I reference that song. So that's how powerful it's in my psyche. Hearing it again.
Song.
Yeah, it's a fantastic song. I love the chorus. She apparently wrote it during a soccer game when she was bored watching watching soccer.
Shout out soccer.
And then the song "When" was my number 3.
Really?
Yeah. There was something about listening to it. Again, I think it was a little bit of the lyrics just kind of being funny, and just the melody. It just struck me in the right way. And listening to the album multiple times was like, I really enjoyed this song, especially because my least favorite and out of everything was "Come On Over."
Yeah.
So because I didn't really like "Come On Over," I maybe appreciated "When" even more so.
It's weird whenever the title track on an album isn't
right,
like
the
good.
best.
Like, I understand that there are albums out there like so like the first one that pops in my head is Maroon 5's "It Won't Be Soon Before Long." Mm-hmm. That's not a track on the album, so I don't like discount that. But like whenever you have imagine if Michael Jackson's Thriller album, imagine if Thriller was like the worst song on the album. It's just weird whenever the title track's not popular, because that's usually the first thing people say when they say the album title is they say like, they mention that's one of the songs on the album. But is that Mutt? Are we
that's Mutt in the back there. Here, let's go full. There you go.
Yeah, the Hobby Lobby skirt.
But their relationship exactly like that. It's just Shania's in front. She's the face, and then the backbone is old Mutt in the back.
I can't get over this 90s fashion. We should bring it back.
It was quite the look for sure. Yeah. I
didn't think that there, we usually do 3 that we like, 1 that we hate. And I don't think there was any of these songs that I absolutely hated.
Okay.
I would say the epitome of the hate track is probably the Nickelback song we talked about a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't any song on this album that it came on I was like, ugh, turn it off.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I think Shania's great.
Yeah, I concur. Going for my second and third listen, like I said, "Come On Over" was still. By the time I got to the third, I definitely skipped "Come On Over," and that was really the only song that I skipped. So that was my least favorite easily.
Well, we were going back, kind of talking about how the female empowerment of this album. Mm-hmm. Let's not sugarcoat it. It's clear, like, "Man, I Feel Like a Woman" clearly is supposed to be kind of like a not a double entendre or an oxymoron, but like it's supposed to be like, man, I feel like a woman. I feel like I believe that it was purposely titled that way to be, kind of that empowerment. Because the whole song's about like, we're going out tonight, like we're gonna party, we're gonna have some fun, we're gonna be women, and I just wanted to get that thought out there.
Sure.
I think Shania is great. I think everything she touches is gold. I think this album is probably wow, look at that. Look at those awards. Mm-hmm. She's so good at her job.
Those are Billboard
awards. I want to be like her when I grow up. And I feel like this album needs to be given its props. It has been given its props. Mm-hmm. I feel like it needs to be considered one of the best country artists or country records, if not country pop records of all time. And it might be. And I may just be, preaching to the choir here. Yeah. But I feel like, especially today, you have a Taylor Swift, Carrie Underwood still doing her thing. You see more female artists becoming popular in country music, and that's great. And we love that. Mm-hmm. I don't want Shania to be forgotten in 10 years because nobody bothered to listen to her. Yeah. And so listen to her. Do your homework. Listen to her. Tony, final thoughts?
I can't dispute whether there's a better album or female artist, as this generally is not my genre. I do take the time to listen to country, to try to see if there's anything that I liked, and I haven't really experienced that. That being said, listening to this album, I can honestly say, yeah, best artists that I've heard. And I've heard, I kind of knew that, Shania Twain. I know Shania Twain. So, I thought it was a great experience, and looking forward to if you have other albums that might be able to compete, and whatever. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, that's going to do it for us here at this episode of Vinyl Vault. If you have any suggestions, questions, concerns, comments, let us know. We're always looking for recommendations. If not, we're going to continue forcing each other to listen to different music. And it's not meant to be. I don't do this to torture Tony, despite his cries for help. We do this because we love music and we love exploring new things. And if you know something that we haven't checked out yet, or you feel that needs to be talked about, or if you have a correct opinion like Nickelback is underrated, let us know and we'll have those conversations. But as always, from the Vinyl Vault, I'm Parker,
and I'm Tony. We'll see you next week.